Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. You know, we're covering a lot of different things here, that these different rules when it comes to Social Security, taxes, and as you can see, it gets kind of complex, right? I mean, think about it. It's bad enough we've got our tax tables. We know what the tax rates are. We've covered that a lot of times on the show, and we'll be getting into it more because it's so important for you to understand, it's not just how much you make, it's how much you keep. And reducing taxes is a great way to keep more of that money in your pocket. And reducing taxes, there are a lot of strategies that help us do that. Too many people pay more in tax than they're legally required to pay simply because they don't understand the rules, and they make choices that end up being that work against them as far as taxes, end up costing them more in tax than they would otherwise have to pay just by implementing these different strategies. So an example would be what we were just talking about, right? Social Security. And when you make a choice that you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to take this amount of income, and it bumps you up in bracket, and it can cause you to pay more tax. It can cause you to pay more tax on your Social Security benefits, right? The benefits themselves, more of them become taxable. That basically means a bigger tax bill. All right, it can affect the premiums that you're paying on your Medicare, Part B and Part D. That's again, right? You don't have to call it a tax, but if you're paying more out and you're keeping less, it sure feels that way, doesn't it? And that's how all these rules get kind of intertwined, if you will, and create these problems for you. So what we can do, though, with smart planning, and this is why planning is so important, when I do reviews with clients each year, we're doing tax planning. So we meet to go over their, at tax time, we're meeting to meet with the accountant to go over their taxes, to get taxes filed. We're seeing how we did over the last year, of course, but also we're planning for this next year, what we're going to be doing tax-wise. A lot of times at the end of the year, this is a great time in the last quarter coming up, what we're going to be doing for taxes there as well. This is a time when we talk about Roth conversion strategies and other tax saving strategies that we may implement between now and the end of the year that's going to help reduce taxes for this year, as well as always planning over for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We want taxes lower, not just now, but for our lifetimes, right? So when it comes to this kind of planning, and I know I'm getting into a lot of different areas here, but I just want to impress upon you, not to turn you into an expert to know how to do these things necessarily, but to just make you aware of the things you need to be aware of to keep more of your money in your pocket and share those strategies. And again, I'll make it easy. You can call my office anytime. That number we're going to get into in a moment. You can email me at hank@hankparrott.com. Check out our website, hankparrott.com. There's some useful information there for you as well. And it's Hank Parrott, P-A-R-R-O-T-T, 2 R's, 2 T's, .com. Check that out. I do a radio show now. You can catch me on Sundays. That's on, let's see, it's talk radio. It's 98.3 talk radio on the FM dial, and 1510. It's simulcast on AM as well. And check that out. That's Sundays at 2 o'clock from 2 to 3. So these are all ways that we're going to try to help you, right, to get ahead of this and keep more of that money in your pocket. Make sure you're able to attain and maintain your standard of living and quality of life no matter how long you live, that you never have to worry about running out of money. That's what I'm sharing these strategies for. Again, if you'd like a personalized plan, I'll do that for you as well. Just be one of the first 10 callers to my office this week at 615-376-5325, and then we can do this. I can sit down with you and I can go over this, your own personal plan. If you're ready for that, this is the time. 615-376-5325, full comprehensive plan, all the things I talk about here each and every week. We're going to do that type of analysis for you at no charge. All right, so again, 615-376-5325. And when you come in to see me, I'll give you a free copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom in Retirement. All right, so when you call that number, by the way, Tessa's standing by, right-hand person there at the office. She's going to get your information. She's going to send out a checklist of things to bring to your appointment with me. And in that is going to help us do all the different types of levels of planning for you. Tax planning, estate planning, whatever the different areas that you need help with, your investment analysis. all of that, talking about Social Security, what strategies to employ and when, Medicare, what the choices are there, how to basically manage healthcare costs in general in retirement, the best choices that you'll have available. So back to Medicare. When it comes to Medicare enrollment, understanding another key part here, at age 65 is when you're first eligible for Medicare. Okay, this is also an important age because let's say if you're still working, all right, and many of my clients do continue to work past 65 simply because they enjoy what they do. And as we were talking about, when it comes into those go-go years of retirement, a lot of times they may want, whether it's doing the same thing they've been doing because they love that, whether it's cutting back on the hours and finding a nice blend of leisure activities with the work, whether it is trying something new that they've always wanted to try, whether it's volunteer work, mission work, whatever it might be, okay? At age 65, if you're still working and you have health insurance through your employer, you don't need to sign up for Part B or D because you've got that coverage, all right, as far as outpatient and prescription. However, understanding that you still need to, still a good idea to contact Medicare, let them know, you can do this through Social Security Administration, through SSA.gov, let them know that you're still working and that you're not going to sign up for the, keep in mind, Part A is free, it doesn't cost you anything, so you might as well go ahead and get that. What you don't want, of course, is B and D, which costs you premiums. And you're talking about, $170, $180 a month total that you don't need to pay. However, immediately when you do retire, you need to sign up for your Medicare Part B as soon as you do retire. All right, so if you delay, and let's say you're 70, and you said, okay, now I'm going to, I'm not going to work any longer at this job, or 67, or whatever it might be, right? Then you immediately call Medicare and you let them know, hey, I'm going to be retiring, my benefits are going to go away, and now I want to get on to Medicare. And this is important because if you miss, the enrollment penalty is like 10%. They're going to charge you, and the longer you delay, the more the penalty, okay? And that's a penalty that is forever. In other words, your premiums would go up on a permanent basis. And that extra cost we don't need. Again, that's just wasted. It's because, so don't miss the deadlines. Just understanding at 65, even if you're still working, notify Medicare that you're going to continue to work, that you have insurance coverage, then you will not have a penalty. And when you do retire, as long as you let them know, as soon as you do, immediately, then you will not have a penalty on your Medicare premiums. But it's so critical not to have that, you don't want to be paying extra money unnecessarily, right? So just follow that rule. There are other tax traps as well when it comes to retirement. We've seen Social Security and Medicare, these, we call them tax trap, means additional monies you're going to have to pay out of pocket. Some of it is tax money, some of it's penalties for just not knowing how these rules work. So we don't want to have any of that, of course. And then the other is what other kinds of things, as far as tax planning goes. Planning how and when. So when it comes to tax planning and just planning retirement in general, a lot of it has to do with having a very good income plan. Planning how and when you're going to use taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free assets to manage your income and your tax brackets efficiently. So what that means basically is which accounts you're going to take from. Traditionally, people would, they might say, well, I want to take advantage of tax-deferred as long as I can, right? I mean, that was why we put money into these retirement accounts in the first place. We're thinking if I can defer taxes and not pay taxes, the longer the better. I get to use that, those tax dollars to make more dollars. And so it's very common for people to use their taxable dollars first and then move to their tax deferred, and then of course tax free might be the last ones they touch. And there's a lot of advisors that would say that same thing. That's what you want to do. And a lot of accountants advising you on taxes, they're looking at how can we minimize taxes this year, and taking those taxable and keep tax deferred, not having to pay tax on it, all the better. However, which accounts to spend first? So if you look at this example, All right, now here's Sam with his IRA. He's got $450,000. Mary's got $450 in hers. He's got a Roth with $60,000, as does Mary. And they have a joint bank account with $300,000 in it. Okay, so there's the taxable account. So the first two accounts, they're IRAs. The larger accounts, those are tax deferred, of course. The orange boxes there with the Roth IRAs are tax free. And the joint account is a taxable account, meaning whatever earnings it has, whether that's, we're using a bank account, that could be a money market, it could be savings, it could be CDs, it could be anything that's generating interest, let's say, as well as those that don't, but that would be taxable in that year. All right. So when you're looking at that amount, now in this scenario, by the way, what we've got with Sam and Mary in this example I'm using is they want to spend, as you see there in the center, they want to spend about $8,500 a month, or about $100,000 a year. All right, so where do they take the money from first? All right, so let's take a look at, again, conventional wisdom, as we were just talking about. Spend taxable money first so that we can defer taxes as long as possible, tax deferred second, and then the tax-free money we want to grow for as long as we can to take advantage of those tax-free benefits. However, that's not always the best thing to do. In fact, typically a blend of those kind of things can be even better. Now, by the way, when we're talking about they want to spend $8,500 a month, it's not all coming from their retirement. That wouldn't, the dollars that they've saved would not be sufficient to do that. We'll get into that in a moment. We're going to take into consideration other sources of income, like, of course, Social Security, pensions, whatever else they might have. Now, we have tax and retirement studies, okay, new studies that have shown different ways. Now, for years, one of the things I work with clients is we used to call it the bucket approach, right, where you do taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. However, that doesn't mean that it's a straight line. A lot of times, depending on what their income is, by taking some blend of those, we can help them stay in a particular tax bracket, a lower tax bracket, and still attain the income they need. In other words, rather than just reduce the tax down, if I can pay 12% tax today and avoid a 25% tax later by doing so, then it would be in my best interest to do that, right? Why, let me go ahead and pay half as much now rather than double that later. And this is where the tax planning piece comes in. I'm going to share with you a strategy on how we do that type of tax efficient income in retirement planning. All right, but first a break. Join me here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.